I decided to take control of my life and start a diary to tell the truth about Bridget Jones. The whole truth.
And your accent, too, was so believable.
Thank you.
Did you have an acting coach for
Oh, yeah,
voice coach for a long
definitely.
time?
Definitely. We started in February, actually, and we worked every day, a few times a day, until last week, in fact. It was a process of learning what it was that we wanted to do specifically and making it more colloquial as we went along.
Well, it was astounding. You know, that was the big question mark over casting her, and there were elements of the British press who were kind of up in arms about having this American come in and play a famous English literary character. But, I mean, she nailed it. She's going to ram that criticism down their throats, because she got it completely. When she was learning it, she went a little bit posh to start with. Sounded a bit like a member of the royal family. But she brought it back and ended up just being bang on. And she spoke like that doing her scenes and off set as well. So it was very sinister on the last day, the wrap party, when she suddenly came up and was talking to me in her Texan accent. You thought, who is this girl?
She's perfect at it. And she, as far as I was concerned, she was perfect the day I met her. I mean, she'd been living in London I don't know how many months, you know, burying herself in a publishing house. And by the time I met her, I had met a suburban English girl. I like you very much.
Apart from the smoking and the drinking and the vulgar mother and the verbal
No,
diarrhea.
I like you very much, just as you are.
And there's been, you know, so much talk about the weight gain that you had to gain for this. I mean, what is your take on kind of what everybody's, you know, made this whole weight issue, which is really not that big of a deal, out to be?
Yeah, no, to me, absolutely not. It was actually just another element of the job. You know, you learn your lines and you come to work on time and you get a haircut that isn't necessarily yours but reflects the character nicely. You learn the accent and you make her look like she should look. And in my mind's eye, after having read the book, you know, she looked differently than I did only because her lifestyle is different. And I wanted for her to physically represent her lifestyle. So I moved to England and I changed my lifestyle a little bit, and that's what happened.
It's got to be a psychological struggle. I mean, every woman's instinct, every woman that I know has the instinct to go the other way. I mean, it's overpowering, as we all know, the cult of being thin if you're a woman. But to see a woman, as particularly a Hollywood-based actress, drinking pints of Guinness and having extra cheese on her pizza was an absolutely extraordinary spectacle. You know, I suppose we were all trying to change our shape one way or the other. Hugh and I were doing our press-ups and, you know, trying to build our pecs and keep lean. And here's this other person who is physically in most fantastic shape, going the other way.
We were very keen to do a fight. How two middle-class, educated Englishmen would fight. When you do a fight scene in a film, you get the stunt guy comes along and says, now you've got to take the right hook and you've got to throw it over here. And the whole thing becomes like a Hollywood fight. And we actually just locked him out of the room and said, no, we're going to do it. Just as though Colin and me were having a fight. And that's why it's so pathetic and sort of girly. Just sort of tragic attempts to kick each other and, you know, wrestling and hair pulling and stuff.
It was not a difficult thing for us to do in the end. How would we fight? You know, you and I. And the answer is like a couple of imbeciles, really. I mean, these are guys who wear suits.
All the girls ran outside. All the girls who had other business to tend to were suddenly on the street. It was a huge moment. Watching Colin Firth and Hugh Grant fight on the street was a wonderful treat for every female involved in that project.
Christ's sakes. It's only a diary. Everyone knows diaries are just full of crap.
Did you yourself keep a diary or a journal, anything like that?
I did, actually. I did for the first few months that I was there, and once we began shooting, all I had time for at the end of the day was to, you know, go over what was there for tomorrow and conk out.
Have you ever kept a diary or a journal?
Yeah, sporadically. It's very, very embarrassing to read them back. Do you keep them? Yeah, because mine always go incredibly pretentious. I don't know about yours. I try and make them real literary artifacts. And I love to read other people's diaries, and I'm an expert at finding them.
And do you keep a diary or a journal yourself?
No, I don't. I'm too lazy.
You're just afraid of what, you know, you might look back and read?
Yes, I don't really want to leave the evidence behind as well. You know, it's a great freedom to reinvent oneself through life. And I think diaries leave far too many traces of, you know, what you might have left behind.